The quiet, rain-slicked London street outside the Italian restaurant reflected the cold clarity of Evelyn Carter's 28 conscience. She wasn't an unruly teenager. She was a senior graduate intern, bound by a meticulously drafted adult social integrity contract, ASIC, a voluntary, mutual agreement signed with her behavioral consultant and guardian, Dr. Vivian Carter, 55. The core offense tonight wasn't merely bad manners. It was the egregious, public, and deliberate violation of ASIC Section 4, the Public Respect Clause, which mandated absolute courtesy toward all service workers, regardless of their role. Evelyn's snide remarks and calculated contempt toward the 25-year-old waiter constituted a high-severity breach, demanding the immediate activation of ASIC Clause 7, somatic re-anchoring protocol. Evelyn knew the consequence by heart. The designated leather strap, administered with severity sufficient to anchor the moral failure deeper than mere verbal shame could reach. Stepping into the hushed, expensive silence of their Kensington residence, Evelyn felt the weight of her actions collapse upon her. She was terrified not of the sting, but of the finality of her failure. She had signed the ASIC because she needed this external constraint to curb her chronic arrogance, yet she had failed the simplest test of human decency. The soft, rhythmic sound of the drizzle had been replaced by the quiet, inexorable ticking of the hallway clock, counting down the seconds until the inevitable reckoning. Dr. Carter's silence in the car had been the most potent warning. Now, the silence of the house was the final, unyielding courtroom. The lesson was about to be burned in. Dr. Carter, standing by the front door, allowing the silence to settle around them. She is dressed in a formal, dark emerald coat and matching trousers. Evelyn. Stop right there. Evelyn, halfway to the stairs, tossing her expensive bag onto the nearest velvet chair. Vivian, please. That dinner was tedious enough. Can we discuss? Dr. Carter. Her voice is low, steady and utterly cold, the tone she used for professional, non-emotional assessment. ASIC Section 4.3, the Public Respect Clause. Read it aloud, Evelyn. From memory. Evelyn, her bravado instantly collapsing, her face paling. Vivian, I'm 28. You can't seriously. Dr. Carter, cutting her off, her gaze unwavering. Your age is irrelevant when your behavior mirrors that of an ethically immature child. You willfully humiliated a service professional, an adult male, 25 years old, who was simply performing his job with grace, in a public setting. That is a flagrant breach of the most critical clause in our contract. Read the clause, Evelyn. Evelyn. She closes her eyes, reciting the clause with painful clarity. The participant shall maintain absolute, professional courtesy and respect toward all individuals encountered in a service capacity. Any instance of public rudeness, condescension, or calculated disrespect will trigger the somatic re-anchoring protocol. Dr. Carter, a slow, deliberate nod. Thank you. Now sit down. In the center chair. You will not move until given permission. Evelyn reluctantly walks to the large, formal leather armchair in the center of the living room and slumps into it, her arms crossed. Dr. Carter, ASIC Clause 7 rationale. This protocol is activated not because I am angry, but because your contempt tonight was a psychological lapse that verbal correction cannot fix. Verbal correction allows the intellectualized adult mind to excuse the behavior. The consequence, administered to the sensory centers, ensures the memory of the shame is physically anchored. Evelyn, muttering, her gaze fixed on the floor. It was just a waiter, Vivian. It's their job to deal with rude customers. Dr. Carter. She walks to the hallway closet and returns, not with a hairbrush, but with a long, smooth, dark leather strap, the designated consequence implement from the ASIC appendix. The ASIC defines cruelty as a failure to recognize the inherent dignity of another human being, regardless of status. You failed that test spectacularly, Evelyn. Protocol Stage 1, the acknowledgement of moral failure. Dr. Carter, stand up, Evelyn. ASIC Protocol 7.2, submission. You will submit to the required consequence. Since this was a public cruelty breach, the protocol mandates that the maximum intensity and number of strikes be administered to firmly etch the moral lesson. Evelyn stands, trembling. Her sophistication vanishes, replaced by the profound, primal fear of accountability. Evelyn, Vivian, please. Let me write an apology. I'll go back tomorrow. Dr. Carter, her voice is a knife edge of authority. That is restitution, Evelyn, and it will be required later. This is consequence, and it is mandatory now. The integrity of the contract is non-negotiable. Over my lap, Evelyn. Evelyn's cheeks burned crimson with shame. The act of submission, of lowering her 28-year-old body across the lap of her 55-year-old mentor in their formal living room, is a profound psychological hurdle. She complies, slowly, hesitantly, biting her lip against the wave of mortification. Dr. Carter, Protocol Stage 2, the re-anchoring. This is for the dignity you stripped from that young man. The leather strap descends for the first time, a sharp, stinging whack that cuts through the silence. Evelyn yelps, a quick, sharp gasp, her body jerking violently. Evelyn, gasping, Vivian. Dr. Carter. Her voice is relentless, rhythmic, matching the descending strap. 1. For the rudeness regarding the ice and the Coke. 2. For the sneering comment about the metal. The subsequent strikes land with cold, precise force, the sting immediately overriding the thick fabric of Evelyn's expensive trousers. Evelyn begins to squirm and sob, her face buried in her arms, struggling against the firm hold Dr. Carter maintains. Evelyn, crying out, I'm sorry, please. Dr. Carter, 3, 4, 5. This is for your arrogance, Evelyn. The arrogance that makes you believe you are superior to any adult working person. Dr. Carter pauses, adjusting her grip, ensuring the lesson is focused and comprehensive. Evelyn is sobbing uncontrollably, her backside already intensely hot and stinging. Dr. Carter, 6, 7. This final series is to ensure you remember the deep shame you inflicted on me, your guardian, by publicly betraying the contract we meticulously built together. 8, 9, 10. The final strike is sharp and decisive. Dr. Carter sets the strap aside, allowing the immense, searing heat and throbbing to become the sole, unavoidable reality for Evelyn. Dr. Carter, Protocol Stage 3, reflection and post-correction. Remain still. Allow the lesson to settle. After a long, waited pause. You may rise, Evelyn. Evelyn scrambles up, her face streaked with tears, her hands instinctively rubbing her throbbing, intensely stinging backside. Her posture is broken, all arrogance gone. Dr. Carter, ASIC Clause 7.3, verbal reaffirmation. Look at me, Evelyn. Was the consequence sufficient to anchor the lesson against future lapse? Evelyn, sniffling, nodding quickly, her voice choked. Yes, Vivian. It was. I won't do it again. I swear I won't. Dr. Carter, Protocol Stage 4, restitution and analysis. This is not over. Tomorrow, you will personally deliver a comprehensive, handwritten apology to that waiter, along with a significant financial recompense for his unwarranted humiliation. But first, you will spend the night writing the ASIC relapse analysis report. The report must detail, in no less than 5,000 words, the moral psychology of your lapse and the precise sensory function of the somatic re-anchoring protocol. Dr. Carter, concluding the post-correction analysis, remember this feeling, Evelyn. The pain fades, the embarrassment of your public failure, followed by the private, contractual consequence, that is the anchor. Your adult freedom is predicated on your adult ethical responsibility. You chose the contract. You chose the consequence. Now, you must choose to uphold the dignity of others. Evelyn, lowering her head, truly humbled. Yes, Vivian. I will. I know the cost now. Dr. Carter, good. Go. Write the report. When an adult willingly submits to a somatic consequence for a moral breach, how does that physical memory bypass the intellectual defense mechanisms to ensure lasting behavioral change? That is the essence of your analysis.